Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us on this edition of Avenue 2 Live. I am so excited to have with me none other than the CEO of Celebrated Experiences, Jonathan Epstein. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me this evening. How are you?
I am happy to be here. This is a great day. I am honored. We are going to have a good time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and our viewers here. We here at Avenue 2 Travel really love working with Celebrated Experiences because we know that you always deliver the most amazingly high quality product and experience. But for those viewers that might be unfamiliar with Celebrated Experiences, can you give us a quick intro as to who you are, what you're about, why you're in the business?
It really starts with my mom and dad. Mom and dad, like, hey, can you relate?
Yeah, I can.
So my parents started Celebrated in 1990. I showed up in 2006, but we should be having an amazing party this year for our 30th anniversary. But other things have gotten in the way, unfortunately. But I think what really makes us unique is a true obsession with personalization and maniacal attention to detail. In the UK, Ireland, and Italy, we have handpicked a beautiful collection of 4- and 5-star properties, apartments, everything from castles to manors to boutique hotels to grand hotels. Every one of them has to be annually inspected or we won't book it. We are obsessed with the difference in room categories. But in addition to hotels, we know that hotels matter, but so do the experiences during the day. And we have a great team of guides, and we love self-drive trips as well. We love working with your team at Avenue 2 just make sure that every trip is right for each specific client. And that's where your team comes in. You do such a great job because you give us so much detail, and I'm always grateful for that.
That's great.
That's great. I know that we are having a little bit of an echo there, so hopefully that gets fixed. Europe is definitely the top destination that our clients revisit again and again. And so we have a lot of people that are anxious to know what's the state of travel to Europe today.
In flux, and I would say that it's changing by the minute. The best example of that was on Thursday, we put up a Facebook post announcing all of these incredible openings in Ireland and all the opening dates. On Friday morning, the Prime Minister, the Taoiseach, came down and had a press conference, and he said, good news, Ireland's looking great. We're moving everything up 3 weeks. And by about 1 o'clock in our time in Atlanta, we had a whole new range of opening dates, and we're actually going to be releasing those in the next few days. But most hotels moved up. Some of them were planning on opening July 20th, and they're moving up all the way till June 29th. So we're really excited about that. The bottom line is it's a great time to be a traveler because you get to experience destinations when they open in a way that people have never experienced them before. But it is in flux.
Let me ask you this. What should American travelers be aware of while they're considering or planning travel to Europe moving forward?
I think the biggest change overall, I believe, is just the amount of airlift to Europe. The days of having that easy flight direct into every city that you want to go to, it's just not going to be as simple. You may actually have to connect, which I always think is funny. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, so I was used to connecting, and I just don't think it's that huge of a deal. But I think there will be more connecting. That said, once you're in these places, the number of people that you're going to be battling with at key sites, and over the last few years, it could feel like battling. It's just going to be a different world. It's why I'm so excited about travel as soon as we're able to travel. And I think those dates are coming up. Scotland just had a great piece of news today. They moved dates up for when hotels can open. So we were afraid that it wasn't going to be till August, but they just announced they could open as soon as July 15th. Italian hotels, many of our Celebrate hotels are already open. Some of my favorites like Portrait in Rome and Portrait in Firenze are already open. So we're really excited about things. And I think that Europe's going to open up pretty soon to American travelers.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. So Italy is our number one. It's like our favorite that all of our clients love. So talk to me a little bit about Italy and what's happening there.
So everything's good news. I mean, they worked so hard during their lockdown, and they were disciplined during their lockdown, and they've been able to open up pretty quickly, and the numbers are pretty stable. It's really exciting. And like I said, a lot of hotels are open. The main sites are open. The Colosseum, Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Accademia in Florence, Uffizi Gallery, sites are open. At the Duomo in Florence and other sites, they're giving you this necklace that beeps when you're within 2 meters of anybody. So social distancing is in effect, but the sites are open. And I think the main thing that your clients have to look forward to is, I remember one of my most important trips of my life. I was in Venice in December, and I fell in love with Venice. You'd walk through St. Mark's Square at night, and you'd hear your footsteps echoing. That is not something that normally happens in Venice. And normally you have to travel in a time like December to experience that. But there's no cruises. There's no giant bus tours. You get to have these destinations to yourself in a way that people haven't in generations. So I think when the doors open, yes, I totally understand those travelers who are going to be concerned about traveling. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're older and concerned, but we just had a trip last week to Ireland, a couple in their 80s that reconfirmed their trip, and they're traveling in September if all systems are go. They just don't want to miss out on the opportunity.
So, talk to me a little bit about opportunity. I mean, we're seeing a pent up demand. I feel like people have been trapped in their same four walls with the same few people for a number of months. And now they're really kind of saying, hey, how do I get out there? Now, you're right. There is a certain segment of the public that, for their health reasons, for safety concerns, they need to stay inside. But there are a group of people that have also said, I'm maybe a little bit more intrepid than others. Are you seeing that as well?
100%. And again, it's not going to be a huge number. I mean, no one in travel is going to hit 2019 numbers. Let's be clear. But there are people who weigh the risks and they weigh the benefits, and we're getting phone calls from those people, and it's exciting to talk to them and listen. And we had a former congressman reach out about a trip to Scotland coming up in September. So I think they're just looking at the pluses and minuses. I'll tell you, we talk about pent up demand. The real pent up is pent up hospitality. I'm so fortunate. We work with the UK, Ireland, Italy. These are like destinations where you're born to be a host. Like, you want to welcome people. You want to give somebody more food. You haven't eaten enough. And for a lot of hotels that are seasonal, like Italy, for example, some of those hotels have been shut down since October. So these people who are natural hosts, who are just waiting to welcome people, have had to go a longer stretch to do what is so natural in their core. And that's what I think is the pent up. It's the pent up hospitality. And those that travel this year are going to get to experience that in a different way.
Okay, so let's get to the fun stuff. Celebrated Experiences does a fantastic job with some really unique types of properties, things that people might not be normally used to staying in. So everybody can stay in a hotel, but you guys have access to some of the most amazing manors and castles and other types of things. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So, I mean, it really started with my parents. My dad, when he built the collection, would go away for about 20 days at a time, staying at a different hotel every night. And this random American would knock on these manor doors and say, hey, I've got these clients in the US. One of them mentioned your hotel. I'd love to have a look around and see if it's a good fit. And the next thing you know, my dad and that general manager would become incredible friends because my parents sent them a lot of production. And so that's really what it's about. It's not just about finding places. It's finding places that you fall in love with, that you're passionate about, that you want to share with people, and then sending production so the hotels really are grateful and they look after each of your clients in a special way. But places like Lucknow Park in the Cotswolds, which you drive down this mile-long road with these beautiful trees on each side, and it opens up and you have one of the most beautiful stately homes in all of England, and you get to sleep there. They also have cottages, by the way. Like, a lot of our hotels have cottages now and villas for people who really want to be socially distant and avoid the actual hotel stay. We have spaces like Ashford Castle, Inverloch Castle in Scotland, so true special castle hotels, Dromoland Castle. And at the same time, we have beautiful small inns and country houses, some of them as inexpensive as in the $400 a night. You got to look at the sheep. That's the other great thing about my destination. Everywhere you look, there's sheep. Those sheep are actually, that picture was Joyce Country sheepdogs. But when you're sheeped out, we can head to Tuscany. That's a picture I took in Chianti, actually with my iPhone. So if you have not been to Chianti, and that's, of course, Positano, we are so fortunate in our collection to have iconic hotels like La Syracuse. And that is a picture of the Cotswolds. When I was 17 years old, I said to Dad, hey, I want to go to work in England for the summer. And I thought that meant going to London. I worked in the Cotswolds for the summer. And that, of course, is Ashford Castle, which I mentioned earlier, which is, for so many people, their ultimate hotel dream, and rightfully so.
Okay, so one of the other things that you have been doing that I think has been absolutely fantastic is that, and again, you kind of inspired me, but You've been doing your own kind of Facebook
I promise.
Live
we were talking about how there's been an oversight and you haven't been knighted. Actually, is what we were talking about. But you look great. We talked about your time in the British Army. I mean, we covered a lot of ground. You did not waste any time. I want to. I'm basically. So, question for you now that you're back, looking better than ever. Krasinski. That's pretty much who I am. I am a less attractive, bearded, less strong, less clever, and creative version of him. But I love what I do. But no, the shows have been great. It's a wonderful way, and I love that you're doing it too, Josh, because I think so much of our industry is the obvious, what's right in front of you. And I think that these shows let people just be who they are in themselves and see like the backside of the hospitality industry. And there's so much there that shows the passion and the care that goes into every trip.
Yeah, no. Sorry, we're again. This is live TV, and I'm a travel advisor by nature, so we're
far. It is a testament to your and my incredible team.
So thank you for everybody at home and bearing with us. Okay, so let's get back to some more important details again. So for our clients that are looking to socially distance themselves, so you know, I can get on a plane, I can wear a mask, I'm gonna head to Europe, but you know, once I get there, I want to, you know, be able to socially distance myself to some extent, and you know, you've got some exclusive use types of things that people can get themselves into, apartments and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I would start with the fact that, you know, my destinations, you think of places like the Highlands of Scotland, they were doing social distancing before it was cool. Like you've got, I think, 15 people per square mile in the Highlands of Scotland. But I think first off, you know, we're fortunate that we don't generally work with hotels where people are on top of each other with long hallways and 1,000 rooms. But if people are looking for true exclusive use, homes, villas, we have some incredible options. In Italy, we have some great ones in the Tuscan countryside, down in Puglia, near the Lake Como area. We definitely have some of these great villas that we can offer. In the UK, we have beautiful apartments in London, true residences. One of them, the Milestone, which Josh, you know, because Terry Holmes is such a fan, the director of the group. I mean, he's such a fan of Avenue 2. But I think that's a great property with apartments. We have quite a few of those in London. In Scotland, we have some properties that you can just take exclusive use, like 8-bedroom, 10-bedroom manors and castles. Like, I think that we're going to have a big push for Thanksgiving this year. I think you're right. People want out. You know, they don't necessarily want to run away from their family this Thanksgiving, but if they can take their family with them and do a manor house, and remember, November is truly low season in a lot of these places, even though the weather isn't always that different from summer. And we have got some great options for families for Thanksgiving. And then in Ireland, there's wonderful exclusive use. There's a castle called Kilkee Castle that we work with. That's a hotel, but also could be done exclusively. And we have a few 4 and 5 bedroom options, one in Connemara and one down in Southwest Ireland in County Kerry. A few of them down there that really would be special. And others.
Yeah, we're seeing, you know, the absolute same thing. We're seeing a lot of people are looking for Thanksgiving trips, things that was maybe previously spring break is now being pushed to the fall and to Thanksgiving. So that's very good. Okay, so you've got a very impressive collection behind you there, and I see that you're sipping on something. You know, we can't talk about what you guys all offer if we don't talk about Scotch and whiskeys. So give us a little primer.
Let's tell the audience the truth. When we were setting up what was up here before, you can tell the audience the truth.
There were quite a few number of toys and things along those lines, and you know, I guess, you know, some books, very, very highfalutin.
There were quite a few Millennium Falcons and AT-AT Lego figures. So I'm down in the basement right now because my family is running amok upstairs. So I've moved all my son's Legos and I brought my whiskeys down here because I love talking about whiskey and I love surrounding myself with whiskey. But Yes, I'm drinking an Aberlour 18 that was a gift from one of our guides in Scotland last week, John McElwee from Glasgow, who is one of our many whiskey aficionados who loves whizzing clients around between distilleries. But not just Scotches, we have a few Irish as well. I mean, right over here, we have Green Spot, a special bottle. A lot of people forget a lot of the cognacs in the Bordeaux's have Irish heritage from when Irish came over in the 1600s. For example, Hennessy, not really a French name, it's an Irish name. But this is an Irish whiskey that they then age in Lowville Barton barrels. So it's kind of wine aged, which is really unique. So we got all sorts of stuff. But yeah, I love whiskey. It's great to have your hobby be such a cool part of your job.
Okay, so I'm more of an American bourbon type of fan than anything else. But I will say, I've gone ahead and put it in a proper Waterford glass, and of course, it's neat. So anyhow.
Well done, sir. The best bourbons I drink neat too. So cheers, man. And I've got a few whiskeys I'll send your way. If you like bourbons, tell me 3 or 4 of the bourbons you really like, and I'll send some Scotches and Irish that you'd like.
Well, there are many will tell you that Blanton's is my bourbon of choice. That's probably one of my favorite, just because I love the game of being able to collect the stoppers. And I don't really want to admit this to this entire, but I guess we're amongst friends, right? So it's all close. But I've got multiple sets at this point.
Blanton's is awesome.
But I think the real game is being able to get the topper in the wild. So you've got to be at a bar, you've got to be, interacting with the bartender, and you've got to finish that bottle while you're right then and there in the bar, as opposed to, going to the liquor store and then looking at all the different toppers and seeing the one that you don't have.
So Josh, you've got to put in the comments of the show at the end of the show, for those who don't know, what the Blanton's topper is. And you are going to have your glorious audience be sending you Blanton toppers from around the world. That'll be a nice upshot.
Well, I would actually much rather than send the topper, of actually just send me the bottle. Include a postage paid envelope, and I'll send the stopper back to them, and then they can say, hey, he drank the whole alphabet just for me.
That's right. I mean, I am fortunate that when hotels want to thank me or guides want to thank me, it comes in the form of brown liquids, and that's very nice.
Okay, so let's say this. Talking about gifts. If I were to come to you tonight and give you a magical ticket, here's a first class ticket, to Europe. Where are you going? What country? What are you doing? How long are you going for?
I would say, I'm going to give you 3 answers. One, if I'm solo, I'm probably going to either the Highlands of Scotland with one of my guide buddies and hitting some distilleries, or I'm going to the southwest of Ireland, Killarney National Park area, Barra Peninsula area, and doing a lot of hiking with some of my hotel and guide friends down there. If I was traveling with Laura, definitely London Cotswolds combination, and as a family, would probably want to go to Tuscany right now, or Puglia. There's just so many good options in terms of taking over a whole house, and those areas are one of our beautiful hotels, and just getting to experience those places as our family would be amazing.
Yeah, and be careful.
And then Glen Eagles as a family, of course, too.
So be careful, because Laura has already made comments that she's upstairs and watching. So we've got to make sure that you don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
She's gonna hold me to all of these.
Well, actually, one of the questions that we had come through is on the exclusive options that you were talking about, where people can again have the place all to themselves. Are those booking up now? Are you seeing that they're in peak demand?
I would say they're booking up now for sure, but it's definitely not a situation where anybody's too late. And I think that's the great thing. The domestic markets in the destination are not looking as much for the exclusive use options. They're looking for hotel options generally. So I think that we're in great shape. One of my hopes is, and I think this is going to happen, London's hotels many of them will be open in August. Many sites will be open in August, and I think some of our apartment options are just going to be a dream for people. As are some of our more intimate hotels that allow for like really exceptional service, like a 41 is a good example of that. It's so fun being in the interaction with our hotels about how they're handling COVID, and how over the top ready they are to deal with this. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, the amount of thought that has gone into every guest interaction in a way that truly creates physical distancing, and allows them to still feel hospitality. I think when you take this many creative people and make them compete with each other, it's just, we're seeing such amazing innovation, and some of it's going to last for a long, long time. The idea, some people, as much as I love hospitality, some people just want to go straight to their rooms. And there's going to be technology out there, even at country house hotels, to allow for that. I think that is just fabulous. That the ability to personalize now the welcomes as much as you personalize the entire stay is really going to be a great upshot from all of this.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. I mean, we've all been on so many Zoom calls, and between different hotel boards and a number of things. I agree with you that the preparedness and the level of detail that every single hotel is going into this, and dare I might say that they are over prepared. That the luxury today, where before you would want to have housekeeping staff hidden behind the scenes and maybe come out later in the evening so that they wouldn't be there with guests, but now you're going to have people wiping down the doors and wiping off counters, and if anything it's going to be overly clean or too much, but these places are going to be cleaner than your own home after living in them for 3 or 4 months.
Come on, let's be honest. 10 times cleaner than our own homes. I mean, you basically have, in a lot of lobbies, you're going to have a full-time. First off, people are never going to open doors. I mean, the hotels are just so on top of this. And I have to be honest, 1 or 2 of my hotels that I've seen so far, I have not been happy with their plan. And I won't be recommending them until the plans are improved. But I think that's why our partnership is so great. You do such a great job at Avenue 2 of finding out all the details of the client. What are they looking for? What do they want the arrival experience like? Do they want someone greeting them to valet the car? Do they want someone handling and sanitizing their bags, or do they want to take their bags themselves? And for you to be able to share that information with us and then our hotel and guide partners, for the client who gets to arrive, it's going to be the most seamless experience to the destination they've ever had before.
So yeah, Jonathan, I mean, I think you took the conversation in the right direction, and for you as a DMC, a destination management company, a company that makes the magic happen on the ground and allows our team to execute. Why would the end traveler want to work with somebody like us and then the likes of you? How does the relationship between Avenue 2 and Celebrated work? And why is it a benefit to the client?
There's nothing that depresses me more in the world than when I'm either on an airplane or at a bar or at a hotel and I find out the way they book.
Are you at the bars often?
Occasionally. And I would say that how'd you book? Well, this way or that way. And I just so believe in squeezing the most out of that lemon you possibly can. And that's just creating the sweetest lemonade possible. And I feel like when you go through not a travel advisor, an elite travel advisor, someone who asks the client the right questions, someone who is a constant advocate for the client. And as that travel advisor keeps booking each trip with them, whether it's the New York getaway, the Caribbean week-long vacation, the trip to China, the trip to Germany, the Ireland adventure as a family, the Paris trip as a couple, with each trip, the travel advisor does what their most important job is. They become an absolute expert on the client. And then it's the travel advisor's job to find the celebrated experiences around the world, who's the expert on all that level of detail with each hotel, which each site with each guide, because the matching of the right guide to the right client is really the secret sauce of so much of this. And we can't do that unless we have that information that the best travel advisors are so great at sharing.
That's great.
That's great. Jonathan, this has been a very fast 30 minutes, but we've got just a couple of minutes left. Take us out. What did I miss? Is there something that we need to know that you guys do so well, or
things that travelers today need to be knowing and thinking about?
A good tip.
I think just overall, I understand health and safety concerns. I really do. My father, is 83, and as much as he wants to travel right now, he's about to have knee surgery. It's just not the right time for him. But I think for so many clients, by the way, my dad kicking and screaming wishes he was over in the UK and Ireland right now, and certainly wishes he was in Italy where he got married. But I just think that this is one of those moments that we'll look back on. Josh, I guarantee you, first off, we'll be doing this in person, okay? But we will look back at this moment and we'll talk about our clients that traveled in 2020, in August through December of 2020, or into the spring of 2021 even, and the experiences they had and the stories that they'll be able to tell about looking up at David without spending a fortune on private access to David. And it was just a few other people in the space, and I think that this is going to the Cliffs of Moher, and it just being a few dozen people at the Cliffs of Moher. So I think that this is a great opportunity for those clients who can travel. And all I know is that our hotels, our guides have never been more eager to welcome anybody. And for those clients who can't travel, the good news is that Rome is eternal. And so are our other destinations, and they can't wait to greet you. But I will say, if you're thinking about traveling summer of 2021, get booking sooner rather than later. There's going to be compression next year, and I think it's going to be a huge year for travel.
Well, hey, Jonathan, I can't thank you enough for that. And, for our viewers at home, if that message resonates with you, we're going to ask you to go ahead and, hit that like button, go ahead, hit that love button, because I think that is definitely the message that we want to be sending people is that, travel is here, it's coming back, it's ready to be booked. And so we encourage you to reach out to your travel advisor and Avenue 2. Thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. Thank you to Jonathan for being on with us. And, we're going to be coming back to you next week. Now, we're going to be broadcasting live next week, but it's actually going to be a recorded video. We're going to do one of our advisor access shows for you. So same time, same channel, but it's going to be advisor access. And the reason is because I'm actually going to be getting on an airplane at this exact time next week. And we're going to document that whole thing because, there's a fair amount of discrepancy between Delta and American and United. And I know there's a lot of questions out there that you all are having about what airline travel is like today. But thank you all so very much for joining us tonight and being with us. Thank you again to Jonathan. Again, subscribe, like, and we will see you next time on Avenue 2 Live. Thank you.